Throughout history, the intersection of identity, intelligence, and societal acceptance has often been fraught with misunderstanding and prejudice. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the complex narratives surrounding both anti-Semitism and autism. When considering the life and legacy of Benjamin Ze'ev Herzl, often known as Theodor Herzl, the founder of modern political Zionism, it is illuminating to explore how his personal neurodivergence may have influenced not only his vision, but also the world's reception of his ideas. Recent scholarship has begun to suggest that Herzl may have exhibited traits consistent with what we now recognize as Asperger syndrome, a form of autism spectrum disorder characterized by intense focus, social challenges, and a propensity for profound, narrow interests. This insight offers a new lens through which to examine the intertwined forces of innovation, marginalization, and the enduring struggle for acceptance, both for Jewish communities and for those on the autism spectrum. Herzl's extraordinary intelligence and unwavering dedication to the idea of a Jewish homeland stand as testament to his singular mind. He was a man who saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be, a vision that demanded both courage and, perhaps, a certain degree of naivete. Like many high-functioning autistic individuals, Herzl displayed an obsessive focus on his mission. His detailed planning, tireless advocacy, and relentless correspondence all point to a mind that thrived on structure and purpose. Yet, these same qualities that fueled his accomplishments may have also contributed to his difficulties in social interaction. Historical accounts describe Herzl as awkward in conversation, struggling to adjust his message to the shifting tides of political opinion, and often misunderstood by his contemporaries. This pattern is not unfamiliar to those who experience autism, particularly in its high-functioning forms. The world can seem both painfully loud and bewilderingly illogical. Social cues become puzzles, and the emotional landscapes of others are often shrouded in mist. Yet within this difference lies a remarkable capacity for insight, creativity, and perseverance, qualities that have shaped the contributions of countless neurodivergent thinkers throughout history. For Herzl, his single-mindedness was both his greatest asset and his most significant obstacle. He was obsessed, some might say, with the idea of giving the Jewish people an official state, a place of safety, dignity, and self-determination. This obsession, viewed through a modern lens, might be understood as a manifestation of obsessive-compulsive tendencies, or perhaps as part of the broader spectrum of pervasive developmental disorders, which often bring with them social difficulties and intense consuming interests. Yet, Herzl's neurodiversity was only one factor in the fierce opposition he encountered. Anti-Semitism, with its deep roots in European history, played a fundamental role in the resistance to Zionism. For centuries, Jews had been scapegoated, marginalized, and excluded from mainstream society. The idea that Jews might emerge not only as survivors, but as a thriving, independent nation was deeply threatening to entrenched prejudices. The resentment was compounded by the undeniable successes of Jews in business, the arts, and the sciences, an achievement all the more remarkable given the obstacles they faced. The success of Jewish communities across Europe and America was often met, not with admiration, but with jealousy and suspicion. In this context, the parallels between attitudes toward autism and anti-Semitism become tragically clear. High-functioning autistic individuals, like Herzl may have been, are also often the targets of jealousy and misunderstanding. Their achievements can provoke discomfort in those who cling to conventional definitions of intelligence and social grace. Instead of celebrating difference, society too often seeks to suppress it, imposing labels, restrictions, and, in the worst cases, outright hostility. In modern Israel, the treatment and integration of autistic individuals has been the focus of significant attention and evolution. In recent years, programs like Ro'im Ratchak have been created to harness the unique talents of autistic individuals, integrating them into both military and civilian roles. Such efforts mark a meaningful step forward, promoting inclusion and reducing stigma by recognizing the immense value that neurodiverse minds can bring to society. Organizations like the Israeli Autism Association provide comprehensive support, from early diagnosis to therapeutic interventions and vocational training, all with a personalized and family-centered approach. Yet despite these advancements, challenges persist. There are ongoing issues of underdiagnosis, particularly in minority communities, and limited access to services in rural areas. The demand for support has grown dramatically. Recent studies indicate a sharp rise in autism diagnoses, underscoring the urgent need for expanded resources and greater societal understanding. While some autistic individuals thrive, others face environments of control and fear, particularly in institutional settings where individuality is often suppressed rather than nurtured. One cannot help but wonder, if Herzl were alive today, how would he respond to the realities faced by autistic individuals in Israel and beyond? Would he, with his characteristic idealism and determination, advocate for the closure of restrictive hostels and institutions that stifle the potential of those they are meant to serve? Would he challenge the government to invest in true inclusion, to empower neurodivergent citizens rather than confining them to the margins? Given his lifelong commitment to dignity and self-realization, it seems likely that he would demand nothing less. The story of anti-Semitism and autism, when viewed together, is a story of difference, of how societies respond to those who do not fit the mold. It is a story of both pain and possibility, of exclusion and resilience, of prejudice and progress. Herzl's legacy reminds us that the greatest innovations often come from those who see the world differently, who are willing to pursue a vision that others cannot yet imagine. As we confront the ongoing challenges of anti-Semitism and the quest for neurodiversity acceptance, we would do well to remember this lesson. True strength lies not in uniformity, but in the embrace of difference. Whether through the lens of history or the realities of the present, the work remains unfinished. The fight for understanding, inclusion, and justice, for Jews, for autistic individuals, for all who are othered, continues. And it is a fight worth waging, not only for those at its center, but for the enrichment of society as a whole.